Alright, what's up, Couyons? We're back doing another review again tonight. Got Randy here. We're gonna do a blend. Something of,
Probably three of the best whiskeys
yeah,
that you can have.
a little bit of Randy's preferred whiskeys, some of my preferred whiskey all blended in together, and then some rye on top of it. So tonight we are doing High West Campfire. This is a blend of straight rye whiskey, straight bourbon whiskey, and a blend of Scotch whiskey. 46% alcohol by volume.
Must be a little proof.
Batch number 22K18, Park City, Utah. I love their bottles. I don't know if you'll see it in there. I'll give y'all a close up of the label, but they have that little like sandy sparkle in the glass.
Yeah, I think it's like little like hand blown glass bubbles. If you have hand blown glass, they have those little imperfections in it. Just kind of makes it interesting in the bottle, I guess.
Yeah, we got a little story on the back y'all can check out. I'll let Randy read it here in a second.
But yeah, High West whiskey. They have a lot of different things. Like I have the High Country one, and we'll probably put out a review of that pretty soon.
They have the
Rendezvous
cask
Rye,
over
yeah,
there
they
right
got
now.
the High West cask strength, and we've had some High West, but I mean, out of the ones I've had, I think this might be our favorite one.
Yeah, it's unique. There's really nothing out there. I don't think no other big brands make anything similar to this.
Yeah. So, like you said, it's a blend of three different whiskeys. You have so their little story. They got some of the best stories on the bottles. So, Campfire whiskey is our ode to starry nights spent outside, huddled around the fire with friends. This blend brings together both old and new world whiskey traditions, smoky undertones of spicy rye, combined with complex flavor profile. Taste of peat smoke gives away to chai spice, orange zest, English toffee, English brioche, salted caramel, leather, and dark chocolate. Gather around and sip a campfire this season. So
Lots of brioche.
yeah, man. So they did change the label.
Got some brioche buns over there. We can kind of nose up against each other.
They changed the label a little bit. So the last campfire, like the older version of campfire, they talked about taking trips to Scotland and smelling smoke coming off. They was doing something with breakfast, like English muffins or something like that with maple syrup, and talking about like sitting there having breakfast with maple syrup and French toast, and then having the smell of peat smoke from Bricklottie distillery that they went to in Scotland, and that's why they decided to make the campfire. And I wish they had the same story, because that's what the story I have on my old bottle. But it is cool. They changed it up a little bit, so
I think it's interesting, and one of my favorite things about it is not knowing what's in it. So
yeah. And they don't disclose it. And you know, people have asked them before. They don't say what
obviously
whiskeys are in there.
I'm sure the bourbon and the rye is sourced as well. MGP.
Yeah,
But,
they do a lot of ryes and bourbons for High West. That
but-
clear stuff.
The Scotch has obviously got to come from another distillery out of Scotland. So I always kind of wonder where it come from, but honestly, I kind of like the idea of not knowing.
Yeah, it definitely has an Iowa nose to it for sure.
Yeah.
Like just going off the nose, we're gonna go there. Like so, straight off the top, that the whiskey, it kind of looks like a.
It's not too dark.
It's not that dark. It could be an American whiskey, or if you looked at it, if it was just a Scotch, it'd be an old ass Scotch, or like a 12-year or something like that, or 15-year. But
Kind of has like a water color to it, like a beer.
yeah, it kind of does look like that. But you smell a peat smoke off the nose for sure, like just going off the nose of it.
Well, you want to get into the nose?
Yeah, we'll get into it. First thing I smelled was the smoke.
Yeah.
And it comes off like an Iowa smoke.
You get that little bit of sea salt.
Yeah.
It's not terribly strong. It's not like in your face like an Ardbeg.
Very, very subtle smoke.
I would say it's even like a Talisker almost.
Yeah. So Talisker, or like the first thing I thought of when I nose it is like Coolilo. It almost smells like a Coolilo Scotch, which is it's very smoky, but Coolilo mixed with bourbon and rye would come off. Like,
Yeah.
just giving it a touch of peat.
I don't have any Brooklotti around, but I'd say even like a Brooklotti kind of.
Yeah, because it has that saltiness. It almost has like a sea salt to it.
Definitely not like Lagavulin or Lafroy. Though.
Yeah. And they got that kind
Or
of salt.
Ardbeg.
If you're just a regular bourbon drinker and you don't drink any kind of scotch, especially peated scotch, it might be a little off-putting. If you've had scotch already and you're well versed with peated scotch, and it'll just be playing a side note to the other flavors in the whiskey. So, but there's some sweetness. You get the sweetness from the bourbon. I don't get any corn from the bourbon, but you can tell there's a unique like sweetness in it, and you definitely get rye spice.
No, you definitely get rye spice. Not much corn.
Yeah, if anything, if I had to say, most of the whiskey's probably rye. It says it's a blend. Most of it's probably rye. The next thing would be like peated scotch, and then a touch of bourbon.
I'd get just a very subtle hint of like caramel.
Yeah, same.
Maybe kind of like an apple. Not quite. I mean, somewhere between an apple and a pear.
Yeah.
I know with Scotch you get a lot of pear notes, and
Lot of
bourbon you
fruity
get a lot of
notes.
apple notes,
Right.
but it's definitely a little bit in between there.
Yeah. I like that. There's good notes to it, though.
Yeah.
All right. Get into the
Ready?
taste, yeah. Dude, I get fruit notes right off the bat.
I was thinking kind of like a really like light creamy chocolate.
That's just what I remember from the old bottle. They didn't change. They might have changed the label, but the liquor still tastes the same. So
Like a little bit of like a salty chocolate with the smokiness.
I can get smoke, yeah, especially on the end. Like right when I tasted it, the first thing I got was like fruits. Like we talked about pear and apple, but mid palate you start getting the spice, and then as that flavor goes on, which it does carry on for a while, like it's a pretty decent finish on it. You start getting like with that smoky flavor lingering off into the oak, you start getting, it's like a chocolate note. It comes up with the rye spice and the oak. It kind of makes this with that peat smoke, peat taste. It kind of makes like a chocolate note to it.
It's kind of like whenever you put chocolate in your mouth and it starts to melt and you get that creaminess.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little bit of a saltiness.
Yeah, almost like a chocolate pretzel at the end.
Yeah. Not too much caramel on the taste, I find. You definitely get I'm getting like a minty as well.
Yeah, like a eucalyptus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that too. But yeah, almost like a like that chocolate pretzel note, like bready chocolate, bready pretzel chocolate. I really get that with the little sea salt. I mean, it's got a lot going to it. It really does.
As many times as they mentioned brioche on the back, so bready is probably. Oh look, I didn't even realize you said dark chocolate. Did they have dark chocolate and leather on the back here? I didn't even realize that when you.
Yeah, I didn't taste any leather though.
Yeah, I hate to say leather most of the time because I feel like I get leather on almost everything these days.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a very predominant note that I pick up. But yeah, the dark chocolate, just that. I got that right off the bat. I'm getting it less and less as I sip on it, but
Yeah, the initial taste was all day chocolate for sure.
but definitely it says brioche. I don't know if I'm gonna call it brioche with a little bit of buttery and that so on like that, but it definitely has a bready note to it.
Yeah, like I'm telling you, man, if you take one of those soft pretzels from like Auntie Annie's and you throw some chocolate with it, that's kind of what it. Because I mean, you get that salty caramel. That salty chocolate. Like it's weird. You get a salty chocolate note.
Got some dark chocolate right there.
Yeah.
That's a nice little blend too, because the salt it definitely accents and helps bring that chocolate note out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Right when you sip it, you taste the smoke.
Yeah.
If you keep like we poured, I poured about this much in a glass. If you keep sipping it, that smoke does go away, and it kind of just blends into the chocolate, the salty note, and it doesn't stay on. But if you were to have another whiskey and come back to this, you're gonna taste the smoke.
I find the eucalyptus is dying out a little bit too.
Yeah.
It's more I don't know. The more you sip on it, the more it's becoming just like a really good drinking whiskey.
Yeah, it combines like they do a good job with blends. Like it does combine the flavors, but you can pick out notes from the beginning, right when you first have it. But soon, like the longer you sip it, it does like it brings all the whiskeys together. It really does. It's like I don't know, flavors kind of mingle better.
I love the bottle, man, with the little air bubbles in it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But that peat smoke does carry the finish, though. That's the last thing you taste on it is peat smoke and a little bit of oak, you know? Because the sweet notes are always initial, and then it's that rye spice comes in, and then you just get that oak and that smoky finish.
I find it definitely drinks more of a Scotch than it drinks a bourbon or a rye.
Yeah.
But you get the little hints of rye in there. There's a little bit of that caramel, apple, kind of like more probably apple. It's not too much caramel in it, but
Yeah.
you get a little bit of the bourbon notes, but in generally it drinks more like a Scotch.
Definitely my favorite my favorite High West whiskey that they make.
Well,
For
got
sure.
a
Yeah.
Midnight Winter's Dream or Dream.
That's good. But I don't know. Last bottle I had, it was okay. I don't know. I like that Campfire.
I don't know if I'd put it over this, but I know a lot of other people
Dude,
probably would.
For the price, man, ain't no way, dude. Like the price, I was getting Midwinter Night's Dream for like, or Midwinter Night's Dram
Yeah,
for
I
like
said it wrong too.
80 something bucks. Now you would never find that for 80 something dollars now. Like now, the bottles I bought, and I've had like probably about 4 bottles I bought for $84. Now, like we talking 120, 150. Like I'm not, even more than that, like 200 something dollars, like online.
It's good whiskey, but it's not $150.
Like for the price now, I would take Campfire.
But that's like this too. This was really hard to get and really expensive for a while, and now it seems like it's more readily available.
Right.
So we got this one for what, about 75?
Yeah, it's about 75, 76 bucks.
Like you said, you've seen it cheaper a few other places.
But it's definitely more expensive other places too. So
yeah, so I think it's good value.
Yeah. So on a rating on this one, I like it though. I really do. It's my favorite High West. I would give 7.75. I like Campfire. Like it doesn't touch the 8s. Like I don't know. High West is a good whiskey. They make whiskey. They make good whiskey. But like 7.75 for the Campfire, I think. Because just
7.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's unique.
I'm going 7.5. I really think it fits in the 7s nicely. I think it's a very drinkable whiskey. I think sometimes when you grab a glass and you start sitting down with it, it's just a drinkable whiskey. It's great. It's not going to overpower you with a lot of notes, but if you want to sit back and really take your time with it, you can pick out a lot of different little notes, and they all blend well together. And being 3 different whiskeys, a rye, a bourbon, and a Scotch, there's a lot of little things to pick at it on. There's a lot of little things in there, but it also just blends well. So if you want to sit back and drink and enjoy it, it is a very drinkable, enjoyable whiskey.
I think the first sip you have on it, you're gonna be like, damn, you pick out a lot of notes. But the more you sip on it, all those notes blend together.
Yeah.
And it just turns into like...
It's powerful up front,
yeah.
And then after a few sips in, it's just, man, it's really good.
Yeah, it's not something I don't think you would drink all night. I mean, you'd have a few pours of it and move on to something else if you plan on drinking a good bit of whiskey that night. But it's good though. I like it. That's a good little rating on it.
You went 7.75. I'm going 7.5. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it can go either way depending on. I always give like a 0.25 buffer. Some days you might have it and you might think it's a 2.5 or a 50, or it can go either way with it. It's good though.
I'd go to 7.75 or even higher on some days, but I think 7.75 is good for it.
Yeah.
I think it's all around. If you want something complex, it's there. If you want something to just drink, it's fine.
Yeah. But that's it on a High West Campfire.
You want something to look at because the bottle's pretty? Definitely.
That's a great bottle. So.
All right, man. It's Campfire High West Whiskey Couyons. Like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next video.
Yeah.